Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome. We got a lot of new members today. We got a lot of fun stuff going on, a lot of excitement. I've been hoping to do something where we could share online arbitrage deals. And I think finally we've got that all worked out. We had to hire some more staff to, of course, be able to find enough deals, to supply to everybody. So now that we got that done, we open the groups up and we're giving as many people that want to the opportunity to join before the price goes up. Of course, all the members, if you didn't read it in the groups, the price is not going to go up, ever for anybody that's already in the group. So whatever rate you paid for when you joined, it'll be that way until you leave. But of course, for all the, additional work and the additional staff that we're hiring to do all the sourcing, of course, we had to raise the rates, which I still think is a lot lower, really at, $100 a month, which is what we're raising it to. Most of the other sourcing groups or lists out there are charging, more than that, 100 up to some of them $250 a month. And a lot of them are supplying a lot less deals than we do. So we're shooting for around 200 a month, but, if you're in our other sourcing group, that we're doing, I think quite a bit more than that. There is an app, for the retail group. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to do that for online arbitrage because, you wouldn't need, there's really no use for an app that would have all those deals. So, we're not going to go that route, but I'm looking for some other things that we might be able to do, which would, possibly include an extension for Chrome that could have all the deals in it, or, we're looking at our options and see what we can find a programmer to do, maybe to put everything in the same place. Off of Facebook. And if you're not in the retail sourcing team group, we post all the deals as we get them right to the Facebook group. They look the same as the free ones that we post. But what we're going to be able to do is we have a spreadsheet of all the active deals, and then we have an archive list. So as we post the deals to the group, that'll always be the fastest way to see them, but they also then get transferred to a spreadsheet, which is a Google Drive spreadsheet that you'll have that everyone will have access to. So as they're posted, you'll get them as soon as we do. So there won't be, a sheet that you have to be emailed every day or something to download, go in and download every day and multiple times a day. You can bookmark that link, and anytime you go there, whatever we have on there, the second that we put it on there, you'll have access to view it. You can sort that list, or you can save a copy if you want to do more manipulation, delete things, add your own notes, and it'll keep all the historical data. So, I know how a lot of the other lists work. Once they post the list, if you don't get that data, then it's gone forever. But we're not going to be posting a lot of clothing and shoes. We're going to be posting, a lot of other things that are what you've come to expect from, what we share, which is a lot of replenishable items, which, really include items, that you can buy over and over again. So replenishables are usually items that aren't on clearance, that you can sell again and again. So it doesn't have to be something that a person is buying over and over, like Ritz crackers, but it could be medicine that you can go to any Walmart or order online from any Walmart and keep buying them over and over again, because the deals we share aren't sales and clearance and, all the easy stuff. It's what I consider the easy, lazy way to, to supply a list or to share items, because once though everybody goes and buys what's on sale, then they're either sold out or you're not going to be able to buy them again. So, a shoe deal is great, but if you're spending a couple $100 a month, you should be able to use that source more than once, in our opinion. So, it's very rare that we're going to share anything that's on clearance or sales. There are some national sales that we like to share. In the past, things like when Toys R Us has some of those sales where every store has the same stuff, marked down 50, 60%, as well as the bookstores like Borders and Books A Million, do those 50% off the clearance items, and you can find most of those same things. Those are about the only things we share, but you're not going to find items there that, that we're, you're going to Walmart and searching for, and 1 out of 10 Walmarts, might have them in the clearance section and may not have ever even made it to the clearance section. I have no interest in that. I'm not a clearance buyer. I started out that way, but, that's not, a way to grow your business. You want to grow your business by finding items you can buy over and over again, create a list and take that list and go to the store or buy online. And after you buy what's on your list, then you go and look for, new items to source, to add to your list. And before long, you have hundreds of items that you can be sourcing. And, I know a lot of people have done the Gumroad lists that I have, and now have been able to put together lists that they can just buy over and over again. Hoping we can do that, with online things, buy them in store. The retail sourcing group has really done well for a lot of people. So I'm hoping we can convert that into, an online version of it, and we're including it all at the same price for everybody that's in the group now. If there's any slots available next year, the price is going to go up. And then if anybody leaves the group, of course, new members will have to pay that. But, compared to everything else you get in the group, we're just adding this as a bonus. So, I hope that it can just help to bring some more value for the same price to everybody. Now, Kaveri wants to know, of course, who's getting the list. As I said, it'll be a spreadsheet posted to whatever group you're in. Of course, everybody in your group will be getting the same items because they will be posted as regular posts in the group. So we do have a limit of 50 people in each group. We really haven't been promoting the Mastermind group for the last couple months at all. So, we do have some spots in, there are 3 groups. I think everybody knows that. So none of them are full right now. They're all pretty close to being full, but, and they all have over 50 members, but, I have a lot of people on my staff, and, there are some experts that help from time to time, people like Sam Cohen, Chris Green, that, are in the groups, but of course they're not paying members. So it's limited to 50 paying members. And of course, people like Chris Green and the other people, and the people I'm paying aren't using the things that we're posting. They're here more to help you than to take out of the group. So there's 50 paying members in every group. What we post to one group is never posted to another. So even the shoe and clothing deals that you see that we post, they're only posted in your group. The wholesale deals, the liquidation companies that we suggest from time to time, that's only in your group. We have 3 separate groups. I could have created one group with 150 people in it, and it would have made it, so much easier on us. But the point is to keep it small, so nobody's items or sources are getting too diluted. And, that was the point of keeping the group small. So nothing's going to change as far as the way we run the groups. We're going to keep everything small, limited to only your group. We're not going to post the same deals to many different groups. That would just be a waste. And we're here to help you grow your business, not just to collect $50, because I could be spending all this time with my own business, our own Amazon business, and growing that a lot faster instead of helping people. So this is how I choose to spend my time and grow our business. So only what you see in your group, the members of your group are the only people we are ever going to share that with. Okay, great. And Kelly wanted to know if there's a cap on people. It makes good. Oh, if there's a cap on people, it makes good sense. But if the previous items are available to all future members, would it make it saturated month after month? No. I really think that the way we do it is the best way to do it. Basically, we found that every month, or not every month, every week, we reprocess these lists. We update all the sales ranks and all the information that you see, the ranks and the pricing data. And basically, if it's no good, we have two lists. You were in the retail sourcing team, Kelly, for a while. So there's a regular list and there's an archive. So once it's no longer profitable, we move it to that archive list. And really, people aren't, taking those items, and, if it was not worth selling, they're not going to keep going back and looking at it and happen to have saved, something they were looking at while they were, in a group they're not even paying for, months ago. I hope that answers your question, but, it's really best to, and we don't really have a high turnover, so there's not, that kind of problem with it getting more and more saturated. So it's going to be the same people looking at it. The people are going to be more interested, in the new deals. I prefer to look at the older deals, but you're really not going, it's not really an issue. We've had the retail sourcing team going for months, and we really haven't found the prices to get diluted and then not worth selling. Usually the items not worth selling are holiday things, from Halloween or Amazon coming in on a listing, and they're going from $40 down to $8.
Did Barry have a question in the beginning? Since I had to switch what I was using the webinar on, I think there was a question in the very beginning, right? It doesn't show on mine.
Right, yeah. Barry wanted basically, I think, to talk about trade shows. He asked about, should he really attend the ASD trade show or just sign up for the show? And I think we talked about this last week, and we do have a great I think at least one video. If you check the pin post in the Mastermind group, you'll see I'm doing trade shows. Somebody I had working for me went to ASD, and it can be useful, but what you have to think about is everybody going to ASD really is, almost everybody's an ASD seller. I'm sorry, is an Amazon seller that's going to ASD. So, you have thousands of people that you're competing with, over the same sources. So, I've never went to ASD. If you want to see the speakers there, that's one thing. But if you're going there looking for sources, you're in a room full of people that are looking for the same items. There's a lot of good shows out there that aren't catering to Amazon sellers. So I would look into those, look into local shows. If you watch last week's video, which I think you have, Barry, you'll see, how we talk about finding those shows. There's a couple good websites in there for that. And how to prepare for trade shows in that previous video, which I'll post the link in the group. But it's all in the pin post. Now, what I would suggest is if you want to go to a bigger show, there's a couple of great. Valerie, do you remember what the name of that?
The food one?
The gourmet grocery show?
The fancy food show.
Right. It's called the Fancy Food Show. And people come from all over the country. There's one in New York. And I believe it's around July or August, and there's one in San Francisco sometime probably in the next couple months, maybe February or March, and they have a couple thousand sellers. We're on, of course, we register for all of these shows that are free. So we get on their mailing list, we get contacted, we can see, a list of all the vendors. And a lot of the things that we post in the group are people that we've contacted, that have contacted us through these means. And a lot of times you'll get a whole vendor list and you can see what they're selling. And a lot of them are manufacturers, and a lot of them are the ones that we post are ones that we research that either have a small presence on Amazon or are really good sellers, or there's not a lot of FBA sellers. And these are companies that you can contact, and many members in the past have told me that they've created exclusive deals with these manufacturers to sell on Amazon, and I know for a fact they're doing quite well.
Huge.
Yeah, some of them are doing very, very, very well. We research these a little bit before we share them with everybody, but you really need to do the research. You can find some items that are already good selling and put it out there for contact these companies, and create some kind of relationship where you can have, they may have only a couple of lines, and you can expand to their whole line. You can research what people are selling. Most of the ones that I've looked at and shared, Valerie does most of that now, but the ones that I've looked at have, obviously they were buying retail and doing retail arbitrage, because we would find, they may have a whole line that the company manufactures, and only one or two of the items are being sold, and they'd have good ranks, 10 to 30,000 rank. But you could see it was a bag of nuts that may sell for $4 or $5, but they were listed on Amazon for 15 or 16. So the sellers were buying them at retail, and tripling the price or somewhere around there, and then selling them. And these companies would have a whole line of items that weren't even being sold. So people were finding one item in the store and selling them on Amazon, when you could either wholesale from them or create your own, private contract. And a lot of them that we've posted do private packaging, which is basically private labeling, which is, a good selling product, and you can pay them to put your own name on it. So they're already the manufacturer, they're manufacturing. You just put your own custom label, and then you don't have any competition. And if it's already a good selling item, there's a great way to get into private labeling, or just buy their labels, because if the stuff's already on Amazon, you already know if 2 or 3 items are all selling good in a line, then the rest of the items are probably going to sell well. And you can just expand what's already selling. You're not really bringing a new product to Amazon. You already found that the item sells good. You're just bringing more varieties of that item. So this is why we post them. And I think most people in the Mastermind groups aren't taking full advantage of these deals that we post.
I agree 100% on that.
But back to your main question, Barry, your best course of action, I think, is not spending all that time and money. You're leaving your business. You have to spend money on travel expenses. You have to pay for a hotel, and then whatever the conference fees are. Some of them be $400 or $500 just to get in. I've attended some conferences that are, a couple thousand to get in, and the the trade shows, usually with a lot of vendors, they're the ones covering the cost. It's not that expensive, but start out with local conferences. I don't know what your area you're in, but I'm sure wherever you're at, there's something within driving distance that you can find those smaller shows, and it doesn't even have to be a wholesale type of situation. Even retail shows have done quite well. Shows where you have, like wedding shows and gift shows and home shows. All the manufacturers are there. You can go there, you can look at the products, and you can touch the items that they're selling and see what quality it is, and then go back and contact those companies to set up relationships to start selling their lines wholesale.
Barry wants to know what you want to cover the same thing as before, the locating these, how you locate the trade shows.
Yeah, there's a website. It's called
what about that blog post too? Do you remember that blog post that Jeff Cohen did about what, like, those goals of trade show focus? Do you remember that before I went to Ecom Chicago?
Right.
We can post that too, because that was good on what you should take away. People get kind of lost in trade shows sometimes on just like the whole ambiance of it when there's goals you can meet. Maybe looking at reposting that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a few that I've used. Events in America is a good one. There's a ton of shows listed, eventsinamerica.com, and then also the Trade Show Network. Of course, these all aren't going to apply, to us, but you can narrow down to your local area and find the ones that do apply. Most of them are going to have the same things posted. I'll go ahead and post the links. And I don't remember the one I was using. I don't remember the one we shared last week, but it's in. We talked about it in that video, but it's probably going to have a lot of the same things.
I might be able to pull it up from the last video too.
Okay, so yeah, I was just checking all the questions.
Yeah.
And I think we covered all of those. If anybody else had any other questions, we can get into that. Another thing I wanted to cover is your long-term storage fees. I don't know how long everybody's been selling, but thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, it was called 10 times. Was the
nice.
There we go, 10 times.
Yeah.
Yep. So everybody should have gotten their notice for the long-term storage fees that's coming up in a few months. Unless it's, we always pay some long-term storage fees, maybe a couple $100, even though we have about 20,000 items in our inventory. So what we do is, you just click on the link, you see what you can either return or move on. Some stuff we destroy, some we don't. It really depends on the size. Um, so go over that, and in the next few weeks we'll go into it in depth. But the long-term storage fees, even as many items as we have, it's not a big issue. A lot of people worry about it. But if you keep your items moving quickly, then it's not really a big issue. If you have a lot, a big long-term storage fee coming up, I'd worry about pushing those items out. But in the next couple of weeks, we'll go over it in depth. But I just want everybody to keep an eye out for that, and think about what you're going to do as far as getting rid of those products if you have to. If it's low enough, then I wouldn't worry about it. Some people told me they have $4 and $6 fees, and they have quite a bit of stuff in their inventory. So, don't get too worried. You see everybody in the other groups talking about the long-term storage fees. It's probably not as bad as you think it is, but you definitely need to think ahead, because they let you know well in advance. So you can worry about moving it now. If you have 300 or 400 of an item in stock, you're not going to be able to figure out a way to sell those in a couple days, probably. So you have to think ahead to be able to move that product or remove it, and you only have to put in your removal order before that date. The stuff doesn't have to be returned to you before that.
We also have the donation too for some of them.
I'm sorry. Yes, of course. We do. I have been working with a company. It's somebody I've known since I was very young. They supply food banks, and they supply a lot of people with food. And it's not a company for poor people or anything like that. They actually take the items, and it's only for people who are behind in their rent and are just a little short. So it's not long-term feeding of the poor. It's helping people get back on their feet. Of course, when it gets closer to the time, I'll be posting about it. But they're called Faith Acres, and it's faitha.org. And we've sent thousands of items. They'll take basically anything: toys, expired food. It doesn't matter, and you'll get a receipt that you can use for their taxes. They're a 501c charity, and they're in Illinois. You can remove your items and have them sent directly right to them as a removal order from Amazon. So it makes it very easy. You just got to pay the 50 cents instead of the 15 cents. So, are there any other questions? I think I covered the main points. So if there's anything anyone wants me to cover, come on and ask or post in the chat.
Now would be the time. I don't think there were any questions from the group. I think everybody was covered on that. We have Tax Jar coming on in January also. So guys, keep that in mind as well. We have them coming on to speak to you guys directly. The CEO and his team will be covering preparation for taxes.
Yes, definitely. I actually got something delivered just now from the post office at 8:30 at night.
She started work at 6.
Started work at 6 a.m. and she's still out delivering packages. So, definitely we're going to have, we're actually going to have Mark from Tax Jar coming on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Mark Fagiano. Spoken to him several times. So he actually started Tax Jar. He's the owner of the company, which is great. We've been using Tax Jar, and there's really no other good options for sales tax. It makes everything so easy. You can You can pay the fees. They do have a price increase, a small increase coming, which really doesn't affect us. There's no way to really compute sales tax. So what they do is they compute it for you. If you're not doing something for sales tax, you really should be at least collecting it in your own state. We collect in about 6 states now. But what the best bet is to, I don't think there's really any good competition for TaxStar without going through your whole list, downloading it as a spreadsheet, sorting it by state and county to figure out what you actually owe. So they figure all that information out. They tell you, you have to pay this much and tell you what to fill in each space in the sales tax report, however often you have to do it, every month, every 3 months, whatever. And now in most states, they also do it for you. So you'll be able to have them fill out the information and file it electronically. There's an extra fee, I think it's $20 per state per filing. So, but that time saved really makes a difference. I mean, we really do nothing now except pay the bill, which goes on the credit card. So, they fill it out. When it's time, they send an email saying that they're going to be filing on the state, and that's really the end of it. And then the first Wednesday of next month, Todd, which usually does our all the boring stuff, really what I call it, all the reports and taxes and flat files and, all the boring stuff that you really need to know. And he has literally used every single tool you could ever think of or have ever heard of for Amazon. He tries them all out. Valerie gets almost everybody to give us discounts. We have more discounts than any other group that I've seen. So if you check in that pin post, there's a link to all of our discounts. So you should really, if you're looking at using a tool, look at that list, and it may be on there. If it's not, let us know. We'll contact them and try to get a discount. And there's probably a review. We do, hour-long walkthroughs on most tools, or if it's not, if it doesn't warrant it, we may have 2 in an hour-long video. But if you look at the videos, there's in-depth reviews and walkthroughs of setting up and using almost every tool out there. And if you're not using, you should be using a repricer, you should be using a listing tool, and you should be using something for your sales tax. And if you're using it doing online arbitrage, you probably want to be using OAX-Ray. We also have I have a private group that's separate from here. If you're using OAX-Ray, if you sign up with our link, you can be in that group. I've already made about 10 videos, and we're going to be doing monthly webinars in there as well.
We had phenomenal feedback from that group as well. We've just had people really love it. So it is $100 a month, though. So, it's a little pricey for some people, but, we like, I like OAX-Ray for online sourcing. I like Scan Power, of course, for our mobile scouting and our listing. And if you're going to do, if you want to do, if you're interested in a repricer, I think everybody should have a repricer. Looking to be cool, you get a month free, and then we have a discount code for after that. I believe it extends your trial.
Extends your trial. Is that we did have a discount, but now it just extends your trial. And the first week, Todd's on vacation for 2 weeks for Christmas, so he'll be back the first week of January, and he's going to be covering Be Cool again. We've done multiple videos on Be Cool. But we're going to have some people from the Be Cool staff that's going to come on and go through everything and answer questions. So if you want to look at a repricer, I believe it's only about $20 a month to start, but you're going to get a free month plus an extended trial just for being in our group. And then, by that time, you'll know it well, and we'll have somebody from them on. But your competition has a repricer. You should have one too.
You want to go into scan power because Barry asked about what scanner you use.
Right, for mobile scanning, we use Scan Power. It's a full suite. It just like Inventory Lab, it keeps track of all of your accounting type data that you may need. You enter the price in when you list an item. Enter your sources.
You can scratch that. He meant handheld, so the KD.
Oh, yes, of course. KDC 200. We've got 6 of them now.
Yeah.
It's this guy right here. This is in a silicone case. I think they're about $300 new. If you contact Christopher Grant, which is one of our Mastermind members, he did have them for $150 used. You can find them on eBay. Christopher Grant. He's in your group. So he has sold, he found a liquidator that had, I think, 50 of them, and then he got another 150 of them, so he's selling them for $150. He tests them. He buys a brand new cord directly from the manufacturer, and we really haven't had any problems with them. I bought 2 or 3 of them myself from him.
Was it like on a certain platform? Did it matter? I don't remember. Wasn't it like you had?
No, actually, what there are, and I don't know which one this exact one is. This is just a straight KDC2. This is a KDCI. They look identical, but on the back it says KDCI. There's a KDC 200 and there's a KDC 200i. Now, the KDC 200i is optimized for iOS, but it's for built-in tools that link to inventory control software that would be optimized on the Apple platforms. But it doesn't matter. They both work on Android. They both work on iOS. So it's only for things that us as Amazon sellers would never use. So what you would do is just buy either one. It doesn't make a difference, to what we do. Now, if you do have an Apple, of course they work. They link up just like regular anything. It works like a regular Bluetooth keyboard. Now, if you have something, if you have an Android, you have to have a newer one because the older ones, it doesn't quite work right. What happens is you have to have an extra piece of software on your Android, and it costs $50. So you can use it on the older Android phones, but it's going to cost you an extra $50. There's a tool called Serial Magic Gears, which basically interprets the information from the scanner to go into any kind of tool that you would want. So, if it doesn't support it, then you just have to get that. I'm sure you have a newer phone. If you don't, just contact me. I can look it up for your phone model, and we'll get you going. Though nobody's really. I had one person who was having problems with it, but she sent it back, and she was just a very nasty old lady. All I can say. But she sent it back to me, and it worked when I got it. So I think she just couldn't figure out how to use it and was just mad about it. So, what's that?
Barry said he uses Profit Bandit. Is it good with KDC?
Well, yeah, the KDC, like I said, it works like a keyboard. So even if you're using Profit Bandit or It doesn't matter. I mean, even if you went into a web browser, it would work the same way. You could scan something. The Amazon app does work, but you have to actually click on into the box to make it work. So it works like a keyboard. So it's actually emulating a keyboard. So it's just like you type those numbers in on your phone. Is how the KDC works. So it's like having a Bluetooth keyboard, and scanning it just transfers those numbers in there. So it doesn't matter what app you're in. You know, you could be using Notes or a web browser, or of course any of the browsers. It's going to work the exact same way as typing it in. It just makes things faster, so you don't have to use that camera to be looking for items.
Or Velcro. Nice. Yeah, do what you get, Barry. Yeah, I think we're
With an attachment, attach it to your phone. I don't know what kind of phone you have, but if you go to KDC's website, they have a bunch of cool things. I'm sure you've seen Chris Green and some other people with those gloves, the scanner glove. So you actually put the glove in there, and all that is it's a little, you're actually sticking your finger in the glove is a little ring with a button on it. So you're actually pressing the button with your glove, with your thumb that's on the glove, and that's how it's scanning. So you're not like squeezing your hand to scan. But there are some for like iPads and different Android and Apple phones that mounts it right on the bottom. Or you can be cheap and get some Velcro. I'm not sure if the Note has it or not, but like I said, you can go to KDC and check it out. What? So I hope that answers everything. I know a couple people in here. Robin, I know even bought one, and a couple other people bought one. I think most of the people who have them that are in my groups have it. So. Just talk to Christopher, and I'm sure he'll be able to help you out.
Great.
Okay, so I hope that covers it for anybody. And
Mario, awesome.
Okay, Mario just got one from an eBay link I posted.
Sweet.
I don't know if I posted that. I think somebody else did. But yeah, they work great. I've had all of them. We had the scan fob and some of the cheaper ones, the light scanners, and just worked their way up. This is really the best thing. They have a screen. This one's dead. I can't turn it on. But you push these two buttons, you go into the settings, you can turn things on and off, you can reset it right from here. And there's two things that you can do with this that no other scanner I found you can do with. And that is you can actually change the battery yourself. All the other ones, they want you to send them in. So I do have a couple spare batteries. And you can also charge it and use it. The 3 or 4 other models that I've had in the past, if you plugged it in, it wouldn't scan. So if you have one of those little emergency chargers, which I probably have one in my pocket, you can plug it in when the battery goes dead and just leave the cord dangling in your pocket, and you can still continue to scan. With the scan fob, which is almost $400 now, you can't do that. You can't change the battery. They want you to send it in and pay them. But I could have spare batteries charged, which I do, and it's just one screw. You take the screw out, pop a new battery in, and you got a full charge. So, there's a lot of options for people who scan a lot, which we, of course, do.
Good stuff.
All right. Sounds good. You have any other questions? Just message me or Valerie in the group. Great, Mario. Glad you got our card. And if you have any other questions, of course, we'll cover it. Or we'll be back here next Monday after Christmas. And thanks for coming.